gang, what's up? Welcome back to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and man, I really appreciate you guys checking out the video today and making some time for it. Always grateful for that. And guys, today we're going to be talking about probably the #1 lure that all the pros are using and hardly none of them talk about because they don't want other people to know they're using it, but nevertheless they're all using it. So we're going to get into that, and I'm going to give you guys some tips and advice on how to fish this lure because we're coming up in the best season for it towards like the end of September, October, and into early November. So I think it's going to add up some good fish for you guys over the next month or so. Before we get started, guys, just our dreaded daily housekeeping tips. I want to remind everybody again about if you guys are looking for some good locations to fish this fall on your favorite lake, to please visit fishthemoment.com. Check out our lake map breakdowns. I'll put the link in the description. And this is a great way to learn more about your favorite lake and get some good spots and get you guys a good start there. So we're going to get into that. You got the mail? Okay, well, thanks. Can I say hi to everybody? Okay, Elijah just had to get me the mail there. So anyway, guys, the bait we're talking about, we've talked about this a lot on the channel. We're going to talk about it more in the future because it's so awesome. But today I'm sort of going to deep dive into it a little bit more and give you some more specifics. And it's the Megabass Magdraft swim bait, guys. Make no mistake about it. Every pro in the country uses this thing or has at some point, and most of them do not talk about it. There's been a lot of copies of it made here recently. This bait has been around for quite a few years, but it's only been about the past 2 or 3 years that has really got truly a cult following. It's like everyone uses this thing. This thing is almost like the Megabass Vision 110, but the Megabass Magdraft is right up there with it as far as baits that people use a lot and don't talk about. So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about why it's effective, tricks and tips with it when you want to fish it. A lot of different things that make this thing, attractive. It comes in 3 different sizes, the 6-inch, the 8-inch, and the 10-inch. This is the 8-inch model. And also, guys, I'll put the Baitworks link in the description if you guys would like to order a few of them. If you use that link, it's a good way to support the channel. But those are the 3 sizes. I use like everybody else, I use the 6-inch, which is, let me grab one here. This is the 6-inch version here next to the 8-inch. Most everybody uses the 6-inch version a little bit more simply because you get more bites on it. But I like the 8-inch because it really produces about 1 pound to 2 pound larger fish per bite, and not as many people use it. But the thing that makes it attractive, #1 is the visual appeal. It is a very realistic looking fish body. But other than that, you have the action of this bait in the water. You have the head move slightly forward like that, and you've got this big flapping, waggling tail that really displaces a lot of water, and it pulls fish from a long distance away. So the combination of the visual strike appeal of the bait as far as looking realistic, the profile, the way the body is, and the action about how it runs in the water, it just generates a lot of strikes. And this is the difference between like the Megabass Magdraft and other swim baits, because guys, there's a ton of swim baits out there that look exactly like fish. They even look more realistic than the Magdraft. But visual appeal alone is not the key to generating strikes. If you're going to generate strikes, you've got to have a combination of everything. It's got to be the visual appeal, it's got to be the profile, it's got to be the length and the size, it's got to be the action of it, it's got to be the amount of noise or vibration or water displacement that comes through the water. And a lot of times you don't know if it's going to be good unless you use it, but the Magdraft is one of those baits that just generates a ton of strikes. It's sort of like the Bandit 200, guys. That Bandit 200 is a cheaply made crankbait, yet there's something about it. It just catches a ton of fish.
You know what?
What?
I was hanging on this branch and it broke off.
Okay, well, just a second. I'll be out there and help you with it. Elijah's been climbing trees with this thing. So anyway, you got it all right with that. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about the bait, how to fish it, how to set it up, and everything. If you're not familiar with it, the Magdraft has got a magnet inside. I guess that's why they call it Magdraft, is there's a magnet in the belly of the body, which allows the hook to stay flush against the bottom. But there's also a slit in here, right there, where you put one of the barbs of the hook and it rides like that. So the cool thing about this is you've got very little hook in the way as far as being a strike detractor. A lot of these big swim baits have the hooks hanging everywhere. I really think that takes a lot of the visual appeal away from the bait, but the way that the hook on the Mag Draft sort of tucks up in here not only keeps it weedless, but keeps it more visually appealing to the fish. But that's how you fish it. I usually tie it straight to the eye. I usually don't put any type of a split ringer on it. And depending upon the size of Mag Draft I'm using, I'll use anywhere between 15 to 25 pound test Seaguar and VizX line, just depending upon the weight of it. But specifically, guys, what I want to talk about right now, excuse me, is why the Mag Draft is such an excellent lure in the fall time of the year. Now, there are things that occur every season that basically are reproducible. And one of the reproducible realities in bass fishing is the fact that, oh, why is up in it? He's been climbing up in this dang tree. I've been having to keep an eye on him to don't fall out of this thing. But anyway, one of the realities in bass fishing is that in the fall time of the year, bass prefer little lures for the most part, with the exception of big swim baits and glide baits. They will hit a big oversized swim bait and glide bait in the fall time of the year for whatever reason. It's just, that's one of the mysteries of fishing. And this is the time of year that I fish it. And there's two different type of areas that I like to fish the Mag Draft in, depending upon the size of it. If I'm fishing the big Mag Draft, like the 8-inch or the 10-inch model, I'm fishing it in open water over deeper water, because I want the fish on these big, large swim baits to come up out of deep water to hit it. I don't want them to have to come horizontal, because a lot of times they'll just look at it and not bite it. So if I'm fishing the 8 or the 10-inch models, I'm fishing it over deeper points. I'm fishing it over if there's any submergent or standing timber, fishing it on bluff banks and channel banks. And particularly on those days that it's windy and overcast, works really good. Now, if I'm fishing the smaller size, the 6-inch model, the 6-inch model acts a little bit more just like a power fishing target bait. Anywhere you fish a spinnerbait, a chatterbait, a square bill crankbait, anything like that, you can fish the 6-inch model the same way. I'll fish it in 12 inches of water or 12 feet of water around. I'll skip it under docks, lay down trees, shallow grass, whatever. It's just a super versatile bait, being a little bit smaller. And like I said, you don't get near the followers on this. But again, I would say the average fish size that I catch on the Mag Draft is maybe 2 pounds, 2 1/4. The average size that I catch on the 8 or 10-inch Mag Draft is 3 to 4 or bigger pounds. So there's a big difference there. But anyway, guys, I wanted to run this by you. This is a very common, a well-known bait. It's not as well-known as it probably should be, because like I said, it does have a cult following. Tons of people are using it. And if you haven't caught many fish on a swim bait and you want to give it a try, just swing by, pick you up a few 6-inch Mag Drafts, throw it around your favorite areas, and it's some of the funnest strike you'll ever have, man. When those fish get that thing, a lot of times it's like they take it out of your hand. It's super fun to fish and super addictive. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll talk later. See you.